Okay, this is one of 3 or 4 gospel readings that priests dread to preach about because they seem so harsh and contradictory to Jesus' normal message. So, in a way, today is going to be a bit more about Luke than about Jesus. What was Luke trying to say here? Well, let's start by naming the apparent contradictions just to get them out in the open. And we're going to stick to the 2 big ones for today. 1, Jesus says that he has come to divide people and families. For the most part, Jesus promises to bring people together. And 2, Jesus says here that he's going to destroy peace. Really? So those are the 2 problems with this reading. We're going to start with the second one. It's actually a bit easier to understand. Jesus is absolutely for peace in one sense, and he's against peace in another sense. Peace is it's a tricky word in that way. Jesus is for the kind of peace that Luke talks about in the nativity story. That sense of bringing about inner grace. The most profound and beautiful meaning of peace refers to knowing and loving who you are as God sees you. You can be at peace on a battlefield if you are focused on what must be done here and now. This is the peace as in, I have made my peace with this. It's about inner awareness and conviction, regardless of the craziness that goes on around you. That peace is very compatible with Jesus. The peace that Jesus came to destroy is the peace of what we might call domestic tranquility. In other words, the peace that is dangerously close to apathy. Oh, my brother beat the family dog with a stick for like 2 hours, but he's my brother, so I'm at peace with it. Jesus does not approve of that. That is the sort of peace that Jesus has come to destroy. When Jesus says that he's coming to take away peace, he's saying that he's going to take away our ability to ignore wrongness for the sake of social courtesy. And that leads us to the part of dividing families. Jesus is not saying that families are bad and must be broken up. He's saying that even family ties are secondary in comparison to doing the right thing. When we are called to do something right, and when that right thing is truly difficult, not everyone will do what must be done. You might have to leave some people behind if they refuse to journey with you along the path less traveled. Some will find the strength to follow Christ. Others will not. So a family of 5 might very well be 2 versus 3. It doesn't mean that they cease to be a family. It means that a divided family is better than a family united in apathy, with no one moving forward. Because after all, with a divided family, the other half can always catch up with the rest. So that's what Luke is trying to get at. Doing the right thing is more important than blood relations. It's a scary reading because it has to be. If he said it more gently, people probably wouldn't listen to it or take it to heart. Sometimes you need to shock people in order to break stubborn bad habits. And that's why the reading sounds the way it does. So what is that stubborn bad habit, you ask? Do people really let family get in the way of justice? Maybe not here so much. American culture doesn't seem to do that as a general rule, but other cultures still have this problem and it can cripple their society. So I've mentioned for a couple of times here and there that I lived in Africa for 2 years. I was a teacher in Burkina Faso. I really miss some of it. Some of it I don't miss at all. Case in point, thieves. I don't miss the thieves. Why would I? Now, in that country, if you go out to eat at a restaurant and you forget your phone or the camera on your table, it will probably be long gone before you turn around and, start to look for it. Now, to be fair, Burkina Faso is not a high-risk, high-crime country. There are about as many thieves there as anywhere else. After all, I'm pretty sure just about all of you locked your car this morning in a church parking lot in southeastern Wisconsin. I'm just saying you can get robbed anywhere. So that's not my beef with Burkina Faso. My beef, as it were, was the fact that thieves always got away with the crime. Now, a fellow volunteer in a small village to the east, far from me, got robbed at some point. Someone snuck into her home. They stole her iPod and her digital camera, typical items that get stolen. Well, it turned out that about a dozen people got robbed in the space of a week or two. And the police found out who did it. It was some 12 or 13-year-old kid who went on a crime spree. So in his bedroom were like a dozen phones, a pile of money, and a few other valuables from around town. So the good news is they got the items back, and my friend got her phone and her camera returned. But the kid was not punished in any meaningful way because his father was fairly important in the town, and the kid was excused of any wrongdoing for basically no reason. I will leave it to you to guess whether he stole more things in the future. And there we go. Okay. Whew. In that country, families don't punish their own members. A son will steal from his father's store all he wants and nothing will be done about it. A cousin will borrow a motorcycle and not fill it up with gas when he's done, and will borrow it again the next week. And the list goes on. The point is, stealing is a bad habit. Most of us steal something in life. Good parenting demands that the culprit be punished. And in Burkina Faso, that doesn't really happen. The family is not divided. The family stays together. But that kind of unity is not healthy in the long run. It's unity at the expense of justice. And the entire family and the entire town is worse off for it in the end. So please, don't let this reading scare you too much. Jesus does not want to tear our families to shreds. He wishes to divide us when necessary, because it is the only way to achieve true wholeness, the kind that comes through action rather than inaction.